It's time for Astronomy Daily Live. It is 2 hours UTC. Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing well out there in the world and the universe today. Welcome to everybody joining live, and my special welcome to those who are watching later in the future. Hello from the past. Hope everybody's doing well in the future. Hope we haven't blown ourselves up yet. There's always that chance. I think it's a race. I think it's a race between us figuring out what's going on and the crazy people who have their fingers on the button. And you know what? Well, before I start, I'm going to tweet because last night I forgot to, so I'm going to do that. I sometimes jump onto a soapbox and talk about how absolutely amazing and incredible things could be uh, if enough of us realize what our situation is and all of that and I guess I do lean towards sort of the utopian type of a thing to a certain extent, but I know that humans are humans, and we're always going to have our our problems. And it reminded me of a recent Isaac Arthur um, uh, um, post that he did, and I'm going to get the name of it here. Just posted it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm gonna find it here for you so I can call it out. If you haven't discovered Isaac Arthur yet, please go over. He's a smart dude, and he has some really cool stuff. And what he's calling it is post scarcity civilization. And yeah, he posted it a couple of weeks ago, I guess. And so take a look at that. He and that's sort of what I'm talking about too, is removing this idea of scarcity. Now, what he brings up is is that okay? We think we have problems now, and we certainly do for sure. Um, but he points out a few of the possible problems in a post scarcity civilization too. Mainly, I, as I recall, this this particular video focuses on privacy and those kinds of things. And you know, I don't know. You know, in a in a situation where hopefully we can maybe trust each other a little bit more. I don't know if privacy is such a big deal. But it's a fact. It's a fact, right? That there's always going to be some rotten apples. There's always going to be some creeps. There's always going to be um, psychopaths and all of that. Tim Robinson, you made it. You're awake. You're awake. Hey, you're still awake. Very cool. Peace, man. Nice to see you in the chat. Patrick is there. Gilles is there. Bobby is there. So very cool. Very cool. Glad you're all here. And Tim, you're absolutely amazing because what is it like 3 a.m. there? so so yeah, that's pretty dedicated. So I Greatly appreciate it. We're going to have sort of I have planned sort of a very, very, very casual um, live stream tonight. Nothing too intense. Um, we're basically just going to sit back and chill, and we're gonna, unless you guys have other ideas, which I'm completely open to, right? Um, I figured that we'd just look at the moon, right? The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has just completed its 40,000th orbit of the moon. I saw that in a tweet today, and and uh, um, and so I was sort of like, you know what, I have not really gone over to the LRO site and seen if there's any kind of image data, like they have for Mars and for the sun and all of that kind of stuff. And I so I went over there a little while ago, and haven't I would like to find, because they claim that they've got like you know um, tens of terabytes of um, images, and I'm I'm hoping to find some kind of image archive like they have with Mars, like the Mars rovers, where it's sort of organized by day. Even Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter and the HiRISE um, instrument. Uh, the images are sort of organized by date, and it's great. It's great to look at Mars, and we will be doing that again at some point. But I sort of thought that uh, we take a look at the moon, if that's okay. Um, yeah. Venus is over in the west now, and Jupiter's sort of in the southeast. So yeah, kind of an interesting um, perspective there too. I think let's see. I'm pretty sure that Venus is still on the other side of the sun from Earth, but of course Earth and Jupiter are on the same side. Yeah, I don't think Venus has reached greatest eastern um, elongation, which means that it's now um, uh, come on to Earth's side of the sun. So I think it's over on the other side still sort of um, coming around, right? And yeah, Jupiter's over there too in a couple of months, right? I think in a couple of months, and I could, and actually, um, Uncle Bill, if you're on and have figured out how to get the solar system view on Stellarium, you could run that forward a couple of months and see where the planets are. But I'm thinking in my head that June or July, something like that, maybe August, um, we're going to have Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, and maybe even Mercury up in the same sky, in the evening sky. I can't be absolutely sure of that. And look, that's not incredibly rare. It happens um, pretty frequently, maybe every couple of years, every few years. So, it's not as if it's a once in a lifetime thing, but it's very, very cool because, you know, especially when the moon is also there, you really you can start drawing a line, right, from Mercury and Venus through Jupiter, and then over to Saturn and Mars. And that line is the ecliptic. It's it's the plane on which all of the planets orbit, more or less, right? I mean, it's not exactly. Each planet actually has its own inclination on that plane, so it's not perfect, right? It's not exact, but it's pretty close, right? And so you can draw that line, and um, the ecliptic actually is an actual line. It's the sun's equator extended out into space. So that's where that um, comes from. Report of the week. Okay, yeah. Thunderstorms. What point in that live show you mentioned got over an hour? Didn't hear a mention. Food reviewer to suit. Report of the week. Yeah, I need to check that out too. I forgot about that today. I've I've had this was one of the frustrating days where just everything was sort of going wrong. Um, um, some code I'm working on that I thought was working correctly. I found a bug in it, and it's like, oh man, I'm I'm gonna have to rewrite a whole section because the algorithm that I'm using just isn't gonna do what um, what I need it to do. So I'm having to back up and rework all of that, and then yeah, I'm trying to um, write up it's not really a paper, it's more just like um, a summary of some other work I'm doing in actually a completely different field, which is the secret. Um, and and that wasn't working out either. So it's like, it's just one of those days. So, but as you can see, I'm still smiling because it's fun, right? I mean, it's frustrating, but it's fun. It's fun for sure. Yeah. Okay, okay. Um, so it looks like with your long wire, you can pick up Jupiter. Very, very cool. Okay. Well, I definitely keep me updated on that, Gilles, because yeah, and I I think I would say if you can record a like the waterfall, right? Really, really zoom in so you get that, just centered there, but zoomed in, and then record, the waterfall, um, you know, see what you get, and then did uh, I don't know if I posted a link to that Radio Jove site where you can sort of um, look and see all the look and see all the other Jupiter observations, galactic center observations, that kind of stuff. Galactic center right now is going overhead. Um, I want to say, early morning, right? Early morning. So yeah, you might consider um, um, either running your waterfall all night long and recording it, and then seeing what it shows, or you know, however you want to do it. I definitely would like to see a full report. So let's see. Yeah, and you know, I really like doing the live streams from the telescope. I guess Patrick, the only problem that I have with the live streams from the scope is that I'm really limited in terms of what I can see, right? I mean, because what I would like to show you guys, right, is galaxies, globular clusters, um, you know, all those things, and I don't think that those would show up very well at all. So I'm sort of limited, right, to the moon and to planets, and to bright binary stars, say. Maybe a few of the brighter um, um, open clusters. Yeah, I don't know how interesting those are going to be. So what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to make those relatively rare. Um, and really the only time that I'm going to live stream from the outside is if I'm taking calibration data that sort of overlaps with this time, because otherwise I don't really have much to show, right? I think you know, I'll think about how to improve upon that in the future, but if you're interested in actually using a telescope for um, astrophotography, check out this place called slooh.com. It's slooh.com. You can subscribe for a monthly fee starting as low as $5 a month. You can use one of five telescopes, pretty sizable ones. There's four over in the Canary Islands, and there's one down in Chile. And you can, for $5 a month, you can take, I think, like one or two or three photos of whatever you want, right? I mean, anything. Um, and I think for $25 a month, you can have unlimited um, photos. So you know, if you want to be looking at some cool stuff, um, I greatly encourage you to go over to slooh.com. SL here. I'll put it in the chat here. SLOOH.com. There we go. And check them out. They they uh, they really have their shit together. They're really doing some great stuff. They have all sky cameras, uh, so you can sort of see, you know, the condition of the sky. They're completely robotic telescopes. Probably there are people, you know, there, right? Just in case there's any kind of failure or problem or anything else, you know, they can call them up on the phone and say, "Yo, dude, it's raining on the telescope. Will you go close it?" Um, so you know, those kinds of things shouldn't um, happen. But yeah, I think their largest telescope is like a 20. It's like a 20 inch. Um, and yeah, you can go over to slooh.com um, and you can join for free, right? I think you have to give them your email or something. Um, so you can join for free, which gives you access to. They have a forum. All the pictures are there. to look at. You can do a screenshot and it's yours, right? And I think they sort of encourage that. In fact, I think they even have a an area uh, where you can save pictures like that. So yeah, and they're awesome. They really know their stuff, and the user interface is absolutely fantastic. And I like it. I like it. And what a business model! I mean, oh my God, what an incredible business model. So yeah, I've sent them an email saying, hey, do you need a programmer? Do you need an astronomer? But haven't gotten any kind of response or anything back. You know, I mean, I don't think that they would go for it at all. But I mean, I would offer, and I will offer, to put one of their telescopes right here, right here. I mean, I'm in one of the darkest um, areas in North America. It's not the darkest, but oh, it's really dark, right? It's really, really dark. Um, and one of their scopes uh, would be well taken care of here. Um, you know, I'm on site, and yeah, I think that would be extremely cool. So if they're looking to expand, uh, uh, yo, I volunteer. I'll get you hooked up. So yeah, yeah, very very cool. P and K. I don't know, Patrick, what P and K is. You're gonna have to be a little more explicit. Explicit. Um, all right, Tim. Yeah, you get your head down, cause you're just a crazy man over there, staying up till 3 a.m. just to watch little old me. So yeah, I'm so glad you came in. Come in anytime, anytime. Spread the word, and yeah, you know, I'm really thinking of doing a 14-hour UTC live stream as well, which of course um, that would be, you know, the middle of your afternoon instead. So I'm still thinking about doing that. Haven't yet, because I you know, I mean, probably what I would want to do is have that be a short one, and then do a short one at 2 hours UTC as well. And you know, I tried for about a week to do some shorter ones, and they never turned out short, right? I mean, I tried to limit it, you know, to half an hour, right? And I think the shortest one I did was like 43 minutes or so. It just didn't work out, because once I get going here, I it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop. By the way, it is hydrogen hydroxide tonight, HOH. Cheers. Okay, well, thanks, Patrick. I will check them out. I don't think I've heard of them. So yeah, very very cool. Take care, Tim. Say hi to the lady too. Take care. All right. So yeah, I sort of thought that we would just take it a little bit easy today, and what always pops into my head is the Police song "Walking on the Moon." Dun 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 dun. Dun. Walking. I don't know how it goes. Jill, if you don't already sing that song karaoke, I recommend it. At, at least I think it's a hard song to sing. Um, but you know, it's classic Police. and I always think of that song when I look at the moon. Um, uh, let's see. let's. So what I did find, I'm going to share my screen now. What I did find, and I posted this link over on my Discord server, so you can go over there and take a look. And in fact, what I'll do is I will grab. Oh, can I do that? I can do it over here. Let's see. And do it over on my Linux machine. By the way, I did not get to upgrading my Linux machine today. How with how things were going today, I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to I'm just not going to do that today. So, okay, here's the link to where we're going to be going tonight. Whoops. Let's see. Let's see. Will this work? Uh-oh. Oh, that's weird. I didn't mean to do that. Back. Whoops. There we go. I think that that worked. Oh, I don't know. Let me try it again here. Oh, I did it again. I keep I'm just doing bad things tonight to my chat. My poor chat window. Okay, I'm gonna hide that. And let's go over here. It's all loading again. Slew.com. Don't forget P&K. Okay, I'm also caught up, almost caught up. PNK Space Imaging. Okay, yeah. All right. It did load. Cool. Okay, so that's what this is. And as you can see, it's it's a picture of the moon. So let's just look. I mean, I I I'm not too familiar with many of the features on the moon. I know that this is Copernicus, and I think down here somewhere is, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I I like the moon, but I definitely don't know a lot about it in terms of features. Sea of Tranquility is this one, right? This is Mare Crisium, I believe. Um, so what you can do here on this particular tool is you can, and I need to start my live stream over on my smartphone so I can monitor this properly. Make sure that I'm staying live. Yay, yay! There's the moon. So, and I like the fact that it sort of gives you a scale here too. So this is 700 kilometers. This scale. So what you can do is you can zoom in to a certain extent here, and let's just zoom in on, excuse me, on this crater here, and of course it works a lot like Google Maps in that you can zoom in and it increases the resolution a little bit. So now let's center over on this. Oh, let's center over on this guy. Whoop. Let's center over on this little one right here. Oh, come on. It's going to be stubborn. Okay. So then let's zoom in a little bit more. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And you can see that it starts to pixelize, right? In fact, for some pretty serious pixelization there. I've got a big black splotch right over the top of it. Okay, so I think this is each pixel. Why is that doing that? Wherever I want to go, you mean wherever I want to look, I'm going to get a big black splotch? Come on. Come on. Ridiculous. Okay. Gee whiz. So it'll probably improve a little bit, but you can see that I think each pixel here is like 100 meters across, right? Each one of these. Let's try to zoom in a little bit more. Yeah. So I think each pixel here is like 100 meters across. So yeah, it's an American football stadium size thing. What's European football? How wide is that? That's not 100 meters. It's more than that, right? It's like 150. Somebody somebody who knows, um, let me know. Um, yeah, let me know so I can properly do the conversion. But what I found is, see this little, I think that's called a sandwich, right? Is that what that terminology is? You can pull that down, and there's all this other stuff, right? All this other stuff. Um, and so, this is showing. I'm not quite sure what WAC stands for, but okay, that's sort of what um, we're seeing now. But look at all this other information, right? And not only from LRO, right, but also from Grail, from Clementine, and Lunar Prospector. So it's like this is a great resource, um, and I haven't bothered to select any of these other ones. So let's just do that. Let's look at the color shaded relief. Let's see if it comes in any better than that. It doesn't look like it's going to. So let's zoom out a little bit. And see if it decides to fill itself in. So I guess I would call this like an elevation map, right? Like an elevation map. So that's pretty cool. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Nice colors. You're gonna fill in, yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't know what the resolution of the height is though. How subtle the shades are changing. What does that mean in terms of actual height? Not quite sure. Not quite sure, but that's pretty cool. Let's see. I don't know. Here's an alternate color. So I assume it's just a different color table. Yeah, just a slightly different color table there. That's pretty cool. You can scan around a little bit. Pretty neat. I've never looked at this before, so we are looking at this together, maybe for the first time. I mean, for me, it is the first time. Diviner minimum temperatures. Huh. Okay, pretty low res. Okay, yeah, all right. I suppose that's moderately interesting. Let's go back to LROC. The one thing that I did find was that if you zoom in a substantial amount, then there's this other thing called regional products. and it's this NAC overlay. I'm not quite sure what NAC stands for. Oh, not quite zoomed in enough. So let's zoom in a little bit more. And it's this NAC overlay that gives us some really high res, pictures. Takes it a little while to fill it in, but it will fill in. You can see my little circle there is, there we go. So now we can really zoom in, and you can see, right now the scale is what, 6.19 kilometers, but we can zoom in even more and watch it pop. So now we're down to like 1.7 kilometers. Let's zoom in a little bit more. So this is like 0.7 kilometers. And it will fill in. So check that out. Isn't that cool? So again, these pixels, I assume, are like 100 meters across. So yeah, we're really seeing some tiny features here. But look at all those craters. Isn't that cool? So we can scan around a little bit here. I think it, yeah, I think it'll redraw as it goes. So very cool. And this is all Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter data, right? So these funny dark patches. I don't know if that's we could well, we might be able to do some kind of an elevation thing. I'm just wondering if that's some shadowing. You see that the shadows here go maybe about halfway across each of the craters, which means that the solar angle, right, the sun is over here, it's to our right, and it's really low, right? So it's lighting up this edge of the crater, and then that edge is casting a shadow, and then it's starting to pick it up again here. So it's a really shallow angle, and that allows us to see uh, this kind of thing with a little bit more contrast, which of course makes it nice. And I'm just sort of wondering if these darker areas, see, this one definitely looks like it's sort of a deeper thing. So I'm just wondering if this is the same kind of thing where it's just a little bit, it's going down here, right, down and then back up. So maybe this whole crater is like that. Maybe, yeah. So, and as you can see, this scale here, right, from here to here is only 200 meters. So these craters are really small. I mean, well, I don't know, 200 meters. 200 meters is basically from there to there, right? So 200 meters, that's 100 meters, that's 50 meters. So this crater is about 25 meters across, right? 25 meters across, which that's sort of the size of a pretty big house, right? Well, yeah, more like a building, right? The size of a relatively large building. So that's pretty good resolution, right? I mean, and these guys, right? These little guys here. Let's try to zoom in a little bit. Oh, that's as far as it goes. Um, these little guys have got to be, wow, like, 1 or 2 meters across. So car sized, right? And that's why the LRO, oftentimes they'll publish pictures of like the Apollo landing sites because they can actually see what's left, right? Cheers. Here's an interesting fact about the moon. The gravitational pull uh, from the sun on the moon is twice as strong as the gravitational pull of the Earth on the moon. So think about that. The sun is pulling on the moon twice as hard as the Earth is. So, in a certain sense, from a certain perspective, the moon actually isn't orbiting the Earth. The moon is actually orbiting the sun, and the moon and the Earth share, you know, well, are almost exactly in the same orbit, almost exactly in the same one, offset a little bit. So, instead of thinking about the moon going around the Earth, it's it's more like the Earth and the moon as they move around the sun, as they co-orbit the sun, are sort of weaving in and out of one another, right? So it's sort of a wobbly motion, or in fact, it's more like a spirally motion. Um, so yeah, think about that a little bit, and it's it's absolutely true. If you run the math, um, uh, the the gravitational force on the moon by the sun is almost exactly twice as much as the Earth's gravitational pull um, on the moon. So sort of the way I see it is that the Earth and the moon are both going around the sun, and and wobbling around each other, right, or orbiting um, each other. So yeah, yeah. Well, and um, uh, that's partially, mostly true, Gilles. I'm thinking of Jupiter's moons, where they're the dominant force on those moons making them move isn't the sun, right? It's Jupiter, and that goes for, as far as I know, for all the other moons in the solar system. That the dominant force is the planet that they're actually going around. But in the case of the Earth and the Moon, the dominant force on both of those bodies is the sun. So yeah, it's just um, that's just a different perspective. It's it it's not that it's uh, wrong, to think that the moon is actually um, going around the Earth, because from a certain perspective, i.e., our perspective, the moon is right, and vice versa, right? And that's actually true for all the other moons and planets. But I'm just saying, in terms of forces, um, the dominant force in the Earth Moon system uh, is is the sun. So I just think that's cool. So yeah, we're just looking at the moon. We're walking on the moon. Dun 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 dun. Dun. So there's another. So these apparently, at least how the story goes, these are just older craters that you know have well, I guess you know over billions of years they sort of you know because of the solar wind, because of who knows what, they sort of erode. So you know they're not as sharply defined as the so-called newer ones here. So yeah, you know, which have sharper edges, that kind of stuff. That's at least one of the ways they think they can tell how old craters are just by seeing you know ones that are sort of, I mean, for lack of a better term, weathered, um, uh, and ones that aren't. So let's see. Let's zoom out here and go somewhere else. 'Cause I don't even know. Oh, I guess it does give a latitude and longitude, but yeah, let's go somewhere else here. I don't know. Gilles, I don't know about the Japanese spacecraft. That's not ringing a bell. I don't know if Japan has sent anything to the moon or not yet. I know China has. Um, I don't know if Japan has. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, I can't say as I know that offhand. Let's zoom in on Copernicus here. Is this Copernicus? I think this is Copernicus. No, no, this is Copernicus. Which one's this one? I don't know. Let's zoom in on it anyway. We can go right inside the crater here. I think I've got that thing turned on still, so it should go high res on us as soon as we get inside here. I think. Oh, oh, we gotta turn it on. There we go. Now let's see what it does. It's thinking about it. So this is inside of that crater. That's a big crater, right? It's at least at least a couple of hundred kilometers across. I've got nice slow internet here, so you got to bear with me. Bear with me. There we go. Okay, well let's zoom in all the way that we can, which I guess is a 200-meter scale here. It's got to reload itself every time, understandably. Oh wow! So we're seeing boulders. Cool. We're seeing boulders now. Look, this this sort of looks like the sunlight is coming in from the left and casting shadows off to the right. Does that make sense? Selene, that name rings a bell. That rings a bell. Cool. Thank you for that. So here's boulders on the moon, right? And these are, you know, these are, I mean, what I would call pretty small, right? They're 1 or 2 meters across. Not too bad though. Not too bad. Let's poke around here a little bit and see what else. I'm thinking that this isn't actually a double crater. It's probably the same one. It's just, you know, their lab isn't perfect because they're trying to put this onto a sphere. So yeah, you know, there's some, you know, geometrical distortions. So I would think that that is the same one. You know, I'm sort of looking inside here, and it's like, yeah, I'm seeing the same features. So that's the same crater. So you know, you can definitely ignore that. Um, but yeah, this is pretty cool. This is like a little boulder field here, 200 or 300 meters long, something like that. Kind of cool. And yeah, it's I guess this is on top. This is on top of a little hill. That's a little strange. I don't know. Yeah, that makes sense because, you know, I mean, all the craters have their shadowing on this side. So, yeah, the sunlight is definitely coming in relatively shallow angle from the left. But there's a nice boulder field, bunch of rocks, just a bunch of boring old rocks. Whoop, I don't know what it just did. Probably trying to center on whatever I clicked on there. So those apparently are like 100-meter pixels. Okay, so there we go. There's some bigger boulders. Wow, it looks like Stonehenge. There's a Stonehenge on the moon. Look at that. Wow. But see, I mean, the interesting thing that I like to look at in terms of the shadows and stuff is the shapes of the shadows, right? I mean, that is a really big, tall rock. I mean, I'm not kidding, right? I mean, that's a tall rock. That one's pretty tall. This one's pretty tall. These are all like really, really tall rocks. I mean, if you look and see how long the shadows are, okay, let's just do a really, really rough thing. Okay, let's say that between here and here, yeah, you know, between here and here is about 200 meters, right? So there's 100, there's 50, there's 25. These shadows are 25 meters long, right? Now, I don't know what the solar angle is. Don't know. We'd be able to find that out. Um, if we knew that, of course, then we would be able to figure out how tall those things actually are. But my guess is that those are pretty big. Those are pretty tall, and there's a whole bunch of them here. So that's kind of cool. And I like, um, as I said, I like to look at the shadows because I can see the shapes of the rocks. Right? Look at the shape of that one. I assume that that's this tallest one here, right? It sort of comes up, then it flattens out a little bit, and then it rises to a peak, and then it comes down, and then it flattens out again. So that's very cool. That is very cool. Let's see, where else should we go here? Walking on the moon. Walking on the moon. Wow, look at, wow. Okay, it's gonna zoom in again here. I saw I saw some really long shadows just a second ago when this thing decides to load again. Yeah, wow, look at these. Look at these huge long shadows. Wow, these are like pillars, aren't they? Wow. That is, I mean, if this is the rock that's casting this shadow, look at that shadow. Wow, that's like 50 meters long. That's amazing. I had no idea that there were like these pillars. I mean, they look like pillars from the shadows. Let's see. Let's sort of walk down this. Let's sort of walk down this thing. My apologies for this thing loading the way it is. This poor laptop is so old and tired that um, when I click on the mouse button, it actually off. It usually does, or it registers like a double click, and so that's why uh, this program is responding to a double click by centering the image on wherever it so-called double clicks. Okay, so that looks like sort of the end of that. Let's go back up here. So remember, this is inside of that big crater. Taking its time loading. I'm going to take a swig of this hydrogen hydroxide. Cheers. There's a so-called citizen science project that is identifying lunar craters, and it's a project where you get a bunch of humans to look at this kind of data and find and mark all of the craters. It's very, very cool. It is not science; it's data collection. But that's just a little gripe I have about terminology. I think what they're doing is awesome. That's kind of an interesting crater. It's like a ring within a ring. More things sticking out. Pretty tall. Pretty tall. Pretty big rocks. So we're walking on the moon tonight. Very casually walking on the moon. I'm glad that this kind of data is available. As I said, I'm going to look around a little bit more and see if I can find like the latest data um, sorted by date, say. Um, wow, there's a big rock sticking up. I'm not quite sure how this works, right? Is this shadow here? Is that the shadow of this? Or is it the shadow of this? And if it's the shadow of this, how is that being lit up at all? So yeah, that's kind of weird looking, but wow, that's standing up really tall too. That's like 50 meters as well, right? That's a 50-meter long shadow. So that's pretty amazing. That's a big rock too. I mean, that's huge. That's like 25 meters across. So this is building size, right? For sure. Wow. The moon is definitely not a boring place. I mean, if nothing else, it's full. It's full of stuff. It's full of resources. Uh, we'll be mining the moon sometime soon, if we aren't already. But as far as we know, uh, as far as I know, we're not yet. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Maybe we are, and just nobody's talking. Here's another boulder field. Once it loads. Dun, 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 there it goes. So yeah, you got to wonder how did these boulders get there, right? Why are they arranged the way they are? Um, but it's also cool, because theoretically, right, and I'm sure that this has been done in some cases, you can sort of make a measurement, right, of the sizes of these boulders, and look at the distribution, see if there are families of sizes, or if it's sort of an even distribution. I don't know. A lot of cool stuff that can be done. Here's some more smaller pillars, I guess you'd call them, sticking up there. Pretty cool. Oh, it's going to zoom in again. So I really like walking on the moon. The the one thing that I hope I will be able to do in my lifetime is, and I will do this, if the opportunity arises to you know how they have the uh, like 5 or 7 day uh, um, uh, what do they call them? You know, the uh, boat tours here on Earth. Well, I would like to take a 5 day trip to the moon and back. Right, go out to the moon, um, just like Apollo 8. Right, you go out to the moon, you go around the back, you come, you know, you whip around, and then you come back, right? I think that would be awesome. That's the only reason why I'd really be interested in going out into space at all. I'm not, I mean, I mean, if somebody asked me, you know, to go into orbit, I'm around the Earth, yeah, of course. But you know, I'm not going to be too upset if that never ever happens. Now, some kind of a suborbital flight, for me, um, personally, I'm not too interested in that. Um, I mean, again, it would be cool, but yeah, a cruise, yeah. Um, I would like to do a 5 day cruise around the moon. Right, you you launch on day one. Right, you launch off of Earth on day one, and you go around the Earth a couple times. Right, because that's very cool. And then at the appointed time, you know, spend, you know, like half a day going around the Earth. You'll go around, well, in 12 hours, you'll go around the Earth, you know, like 7 times, or what, it takes about an hour and a half to go around. So 8 times, 8 times you'll go around the Earth, and then fire your rockets, right? And then it's 2 days to the moon, right? And then 2 days back. And then you go around the Earth again for, you know, half a day. And then you land. And that's it. It's a 5 day cruise to the moon. And I, I would do that in a heartbeat for sure. That's one of the things that, I mean, I don't want a lot of things, but I would definitely like that. Yeah, I would definitely like that. I think that would be awesome. Just, you know, not necessarily even to see the moon, right? I mean, to see the moon like this, like what we're seeing on this screen now, you know, with my own eyes, that would be that would be mind blowing, right? That would be absolutely just incredible, right? But what I want to see is the Earth. I want to put my thumb over the Earth. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm going to end this walking on the moon tour. As I said, you know, just a really light live stream tonight. Um, you know, that's one of the cool things about doing this every day, is that you know, I don't think as though I have to, you know, pack a lot of things in. I don't have to hurry. I don't really even have to keep on top of things. If we just want to relax and look at some cool stuff and not have to think much, just sort of look and wonder, and you know, be curious, and just say wow, right? Because I mean, man, I do that all day long. I'm just like, wow, you know, what an incredible universe we're in. And I thoroughly enjoy sharing that with all of you. So yeah, I think I'm going to get out of here for tonight. Let's, yeah. They're calling. So I better get back up and serve my time. So all right, take care, everybody. Have a great evening, a great day. Hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whichever you prefer. Make some comments if you want. As I said, I've got some links to my Discord server down in the description. I've also got a link to my Twitter account and maybe my blog, which I don't update very often, but you can sort of look and see what I've been up to in the past, and all those things. Most of those things are still sort of stirring around in my head anyway. So yeah, very very cool. Is there anything else? Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. You can hit the notifications to, of course, be notified as to when I go live. But this does happen every single day at 2 hours UTC. Um, Now, it's not every single day, right? It's not every single day. Sometimes I get ripped out of this chair and am not able to do it. But I think I've been doing this for a little while now, and I think I've missed three days. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I am usually here. I can't say that it's every single day, but it's pretty much every single day. So I've also observed that tomorrow does actually arrive. It actually does come. So I will see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. All right, take care. I will see you on the spin a little less than 23 hours from now. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.